Welcome back, everybody. Today we are going to talk a little bit about protein, what it is, what the body uses it for, and where you can get it from, and why you need it in your nutrition protocol. So let's get started. I want to start off by saying that this is a baseline introductory analysis of proteins. It is not very in-depth. It's designed to be relatively accessible to a person who's new to the science of nutrition. So keep that in mind as we go through this video. For a more in-depth discussion about protein, message me or look out for future videos. So the overarching question today is, what is protein? And protein is one of the three main macronutrients that's generally regarded as the building blocks of the body. It's used in the production of important substances in our body. People always think about protein, those gains, that's protein, but it also forms things like immunoglobulins, connective tissue, your bones, and pretty much any other structure in your body. Proteins are made up of what are called amino acids, and these amino acids are combined together in the body to form peptide chains and then polypeptides, which form the more complex structures in our body. So where do we get protein from? Well, when we eat something that's high in protein, that protein is broken down in the stomach and then sent to the liver, where it is processed and then sent out through the circulatory system. Now, these sources of protein can come from pretty much anywhere. We have plant sources of protein, we have animal sources of protein, we have supplements that are proteins and protein derivatives as well. And an important thing to consider when we look at protein consumption is the amino acids that are in the protein. So proteins can be either complete or incomplete when we look at them with regards to human nutrition. And complete means that it contains all of the essential amino acids that our body is not able to create itself. And incomplete protein only has a portion of these essential amino acids. There's a third category of amino acids as well. These are called conditionally essential amino acids, which are amino acids that are produced by the body but may not be produced in a large enough quantity in certain scenarios. An example of this is glutamine. So that's a very surface level, broad overview of what proteins are. Now let's talk a little bit more specifically about sources of protein. When people think protein, people think meat. People think chicken, steak, pork, fish. These are all things that we know have high quantities of protein. And it's important to consider that protein from animals is generally a complete protein. As we discussed earlier, that means it has all of those essential amino acids that we need to produce these structures in our body. As with everything in nutrition, it's important to emphasize the consumption of minimally processed foods as much as possible. So perhaps trade that sliced turkey deli meat in for a turkey breast that you've cooked yourself. An often forgot about source of protein is plant sources of protein. Plant proteins tend to be incomplete proteins, meaning they don't contain all of those essential amino acids. There are a few exceptions to this, such as quinoa, but for the most part, plant proteins are considered incomplete. Now, don't take this as a reason to avoid eating plant protein, because you can combine different protein sources to make a complete protein that has the full spectrum of essential amino acids that you need. Examples of this include combining rice and beans, or combining pita chips and hummus. Those are two ways to make complete proteins out of two incomplete protein sources. Leafy vegetables as well have usually a very high proportion of protein in them. You just have to eat a very high volume to actually get it. Something like spinach has almost a 1-to-1 carbohydrate to protein ratio. So all this discussion about protein types and sources and structures is great, but what does it really mean for you in the basics? Well, when we look at the research, we see that we want to have a range of protein intake somewhere between 1.6 and 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. That upper end works up to about that 1 gram per pound that you'll see a lot of bodybuilding gurus suggest. And of course, there's variation in here depending on your goals. Consuming above and beyond this upper threshold does not appear to have any real benefit for performance or for lean muscle gain or for any type of meaningful health marker. If you want to eat more protein than this, that is absolutely fine, but I might suggest as a nutrition coach that we funnel those calories into either fats to support hormone production or carbs, because carbs are delicious. Something that comes up very often in the world of nutrition, especially in the world of sports, is protein supplementation. Protein supplements can be very helpful if they allow you to conveniently and effectively reach your daily protein goals, but they should not be considered compulsory or mandatory by any means. Now, people will often talk about the anabolic window when it comes to protein intake and place a lot of emphasis on protein timing. But the research indicates that there is really not a strict anabolic window after training in which you need to consume protein and or carbohydrates in order to fuel your body and avoid catabolism. You'll often see athletes taking things such as BCAAs or EAAs during workout or during the day. These are different supplements that I will touch on in a different video, but for a brief overview here, the BCAAs are leucine, isoleucine, and valine, and they are essential amino acids as well, meaning that your body doesn't naturally produce them. You need the full spectrum of amino acids for effective muscle protein synthesis, something that a BCAA supplement doesn't provide. Now, the flip side of that is an EAA supplement, and this one has a little bit more validity when it comes to performance. Because it has that full spectrum of essential amino acids, you are able to a bit more efficiently spark that muscle protein synthesis. But it's important to remember here that the benefits of an EAA supplement do not outweigh the benefits of a complete protein supplement, whether that be a whey protein isolate or whether that be a chicken breast. EAAs can be helpful if you are training without eating breakfast before, because it can give your body those amino acids that it needs to fuel your performance. So, let's quickly boil down this brief overview into 3 main points that I want you to take away from this video. Point number 1 is that protein is a very important macronutrient that is used to build structures in the body. Point 2 is that we want to keep our protein intake somewhere between 1.6 and 2.2 grams per kilogram of body weight for health and performance optimization. And point 3 I want you to remember is that protein supplements can be used if they are convenient for you and help you get into that range, but should not by any means be considered compulsory. So I hope you learned something from this video, and I hope that you gained a little bit of insight into what protein is and why it's so important for the body. If you learned something, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and let me know down in the comments what you took away from the video today. For more information like this, head over to my Instagram, g.sweeney, or head over to my website, gsnutritioncoaching.com, and send me a message, and we'll get started on a program that's going to work for you. See you guys next time.